There are many bands out there that are legends and have music that stands the test of time. That does not mean every great band has a flawless track record. Let's take a look at some bad songs by good bands. Some songs age poorly, some songs don't showcase what a band is truly capable of, and sometimes the songwriters go temporarily insane. Sometimes it's all three. This video will take a look at 10 examples of amazing bands and artists dropping the ball. Just to be clear, this is not a top 10, no ranking here, just a list of 10 terrible songs by great bands. You'll figure it out as we go. Let's get started. R.E.M. are a band that stood out for the right reasons in the early 90s, with the music culture wildly changing. The band would reach international fame and become a household name as time went on, leading to the massively successful album Out of Time going 4 times platinum and earning several Grammys. It's crazy to think that the album with the song Losing My Religion also has the cheesiest 90s TV show theme song ever, Shiny Happy People. Before you think I'm picking on this one too hard, keep in mind even the band hated it and doesn't play it anymore. To quote Michael Stipe, "It's a fruity pop song written for children. It just is what it is. If there was one song that was sent into outer space to represent R.E.M. for the rest of time, I would not want it to be Shiny Happy People." I can't top that. I mean, when you break down the lyrics, it really is a tub of cheesy goodness, and that's about it. I feel bad for Kate Pearson, who was in the song, because she didn't do bad with what she was given. I mean, none of the band performed the song poorly, but when you're given a track akin to If You're Happy and You Know It, you can't expect much. The guitar tone gets old quickly, everything starts repeating each other. Man, the 90s was such a great time for music evolution, but some things need to be left behind. This song is one of them. I've been a Pearl Jam fan since I was a young child. 10 is one of my all-time favorite albums, but I'm convinced Eddie Vedder's brain was replaced with someone else's when he wrote and then made Bugs, and then had that happen on the band's third album, Vitology. The same album that brought you Corduroy and Better Man brought you Bugs. Bugs on my window. Vedder wrote a song about bugs and questioning if he should eat bugs and then getting naked to become one with the bugs. I wish I was making that up. It's quite the stark contrast to watch Pearl Jam go through the 90s from Jeremy to I Got Bugs in My Head, with an accordion sounding like a hokey grandpa's song that's played on a front porch to entertain children. Hokey is the right word to describe it also. This is awful. Break down the lyrics? It's stupid. Break down the ear-grating accordion repeated rhythm? It's awful. Combine them and you have to ask for the apocalypse. I get that Vitology doesn't get the praise when you compare it to 10 or Versus, but it's still a good album. But then you hear a song like this and you question the sanity of the band. Pearl Jam even did this song live occasionally as a joke. Why? Did you want everyone to leave early? Think about it at a live show. Pearl Jam just gets done playing Daughter or The Fixer, and then you see an accordion brought on stage. Yeah, I can see drunk grunge fans running for the exit. Sometimes simple joke songs work to break up an album or lighten the tone a bit, and sometimes songs make you hit the skip button so hard you hurt your finger. Bugs is an example of the latter. For the love of God, don't follow Eddie's advice of getting naked and rolling around with bugs. Do I eat them? Muse is a band who has been pushing creative boundaries and trying different things for decades, and for the most part, they succeed. Whether you love Black Holes and Revelations or think that the venture into the second law was something fun, you know Muse has a world of talent and aren't afraid to dive headfirst into something that others wouldn't even dare to try. Then in 2018, Muse got swept up in the 80s craze, inspired by Stranger Things, and followed suit in that trend of beat boops, and the band lost their minds. Some of the tracks on Simulation Theory are cliche 80s synth music, but then you get to songs like Propaganda. It's the worst track on the album by far, and in my opinion, the most confusing song Muse has ever made. One of my biggest pet peeves in music is when a track feels like 3 styles or songs are chopped up and placed next to each other with no transition. Muse did that here with a freak combination of EDM and funk, and processed it all through a bad synthesizer. It's chaotic and obnoxious, and it's all coming from a band who excels at getting creative with effects and distortion. What happened here? I love Muse and I'm a defender of their creativity, but I admit they go way too far at times and don't have anyone checking on them in the studio. It's clear they went insane producing something like this and stayed insane to release it on an album. It's unclassifiable as music at some points. Muse, are you okay? Whether they were caught up in 80s nostalgia or they thought shouting propaganda repeatedly with an awkward beat and high vocals would be a great idea, Muse needed to be brought aside and asked what they were doing. Possibly smacked around a little. Megadeth, one of the big four who have seen highs and lows and are still a force in metal. That's not to say that every single song or even album has been a flat-out shredder. Back in 1999, Megadeth toned things way down to go for a post-grunge alt-rock style in the album Risk. Arguably, the biggest proof of Megadeth's odd choices leading to a bad song is the single Breadline. It starts off slow, but instead of building to something strong or showing off Dave Mustaine's amazing guitar work, they just kind of groan out lyrics and sings lame phrases that don't mean much. People talk about Metallica, Slayer, and Anthrax all having their strikeout moments in the Big Four, and unfortunately Megadeth had theirs as well. Dave Mustaine said that if any other band would have made Risk, it would have been accepted and praised. Yeah, I highly disagree. This is a watered-down radio rock filler track with no replay value that sings about nothing. It's over 4 minutes of ramblings about a man who was once a big deal and now has nothing. Down on your luck and on the ropes and nothing. Literally, this song is nothing. It also has a late 90s lame-tastic guitar rhythm and feed going through it that makes it sound like it was going to be a TV show theme song. As a man who enjoys Megadeth, I can honestly say, thank God Megadeth learned from the alt-rock cash-in. I mean, they've had other missteps along the way, but Megadeth is much better than this now. Dave Mustaine is no longer lame alt-rock Dave dancing on the breadline to late 90s cheese. He is guitar shredding, politically angry Dave who gets fired up over little things. I don't have to agree with his politics to enjoy thrash and metal. I just know that I don't enjoy dancing on the breadline. I am a die-hard Deftones fan for 20 years now, and while I enjoy or absolutely love every album the band has put out, I will not give a pass to possibly the dumbest thing the band has ever created with Pink Cell Phone. At over 5 minutes on the album Saturday Night Wrist, the band just lost their minds and thought this was something people would get a kick out of. It starts out as a digital beat with Chino giving soft vocals and a woman repeating "belief in the one true power," and then it dissolves into a graphic description of an act I will not speak of, just to make fun of British people at the end. Deftones are better than this.
Belief in the one true power.
This would not even have worked if Deftones were a cheeky comedy band. Why, Chino, why? I can't even say it's an interlude because, again, the song has a full list of lyrics from Chino, and the woman is gross. That's it. She's just gross for the sake of being gross. While Saturday Night Wrist doesn't get as much love as other Deftones albums, the song Pink Cell Phone is still abandoned by even the staunchest defenders of the album. The song offers very little in the beat, and even Chino is a footnote to the track because of how stupid the song gets. I normally don't care if a band tries to do something dumb or just tries to joke around with a track on an album, but Deftones weren't really known for this type of thing to this extent, and when they actually do it, they went way overboard. And anytime I see a Pink Cell Phone now in the real world, I kinda recoil a bit. Nothing wrong with some occasional humor on a serious album, especially with an extremely talented band, but maybe run the idea by a test group or something first. British people didn't deserve that shade, and wow, this song is still awkward to hear over 10 years later. Why, Chino, why?
That is why British people have bad teeth.
Many people, including myself, think that Fall Out Boy are not exactly putting in the effort since regrouping in the early 2010s, and each album since has gotten significantly weaker or more confusing. It sucks because this is a band who definitely has talent and a ton of hits in the decade prior, but it all comes to a headache-inducing exclamation mark with Young and Menace. Before all the Fall Out Boy diehard fans get all butthurt, I think Fall Out Boy is a good band. This song, Young and Menace, is hot garbage though. I don't know how anyone with a sense of hearing could jam out to electronic shrieking. It was definitely trendy a couple years ago for bands to cash in on the digitized instrument route and overproduce everything to the point of songs not even being music, but Fall Out Boy created something truly shocking and not even resembling themselves with this track. Pete Wentz said that the creation of Young and Menace was inspired by David Bowie, Kanye West, and Britney Spears.
What?
The track also charted briefly through the world because, oh my gosh, new Fall Out Boy. Man, it's been 2 years since the album Mania was released, but I swear the day the album dropped, this song had already aged poorly. I still say that Fall Out Boy is a solid band, but I also hope that Young and Menace is the bottom of the barrel for this group, because I can't imagine them getting worse than this. As a fan of Guns N' Roses, the song My World should have never existed and was a bad idea to try before even stepping into the studio. On Use Your Illusion 2, a solid album in a time where the style of Guns N' Roses was dying out, the band closed out their 1991 album in a terrible way that adds a bitter taste to both Use Your Illusion albums.
Guns N' Roses didn't end all this with an exclamation mark. It ended with Axl growling the question, "You want to step into my world?" And I'm not going to do an impression. But if this is what your world sounds like, then hard pass.
You want to step into my world? It's a social psychotic.
It's just under 90 seconds of Axl trying to be a tough guy and talking down to people about how wild his life is. In the background are sex sounds, terrible digital beats, and the ending with Axl whining out, "Let's do it." Every single thing about this is lame and disturbing and awful. According to many sources, Axl was under the influence of several substances while writing this track and recording it, and yeah, I believe it. I mean, did none of the other band members or record label people at any point try to stop this from happening? Is Slash really that laid back where even he would shrug this off?
Axl Rose has done many questionable things in his career. This song, My World... Okay, this song's not even in the top 10 worst things he's done, but My World is still awful.
Blame it on mushrooms, blame it on raging unchecked ego, blame it on whatever you want. Wow, is My World something I don't want to be a part of? A Perfect Circle are legit one of my favorite bands ever. The work that Billy Howardell can create when working with Maynard James Keenan is something to behold. For the most part. Every now and then these two knuckleheads will goof around a little too much, and on a big comeback album, Eat the Elephants, we got another ridiculous closer to end an otherwise solid album from a great band.
Maynard has made pretty clear his political opinions, and on Get the Let Out, he did it in a really uninspiring, dumb way. Pointless is a good way to describe it.
Ain't got time for that.
Regardless of what side of the political fence you're on, Get the Let Out is a looped beat with only a few stanzas of lyrics spread across more than 6 minutes, all to take a shot at Donald Trump. It'd be one thing if the song was killer or the lyrics were witty and on point, but this is 6 minutes of emptiness just to complain about not liking the man. I totally get being angry at a politician and disagreeing with him, but Maynard and Billy have created amazing music, and when they have a real target to direct their anger at, they end up pumping out a loop and having Maynard barely whisper some vocals. They had to have known that this was only going to entertain themselves on this one.
Though that does seem totally like something Maynard and Billy would do. Yeah, still not good on a song though.
Many people lost their minds with excitement with the reunion tour and new album from A Perfect Circle, but when they got to the end of the new album, it just made people wonder what happened to their brains with all that time away. Not witty, not creative, not good. Korn has seen their share of ups and downs and somehow are still standing. Albums are still coming out with good praise and the diehard fan base are still selling out tours. Going back to the 90s, Korn was getting all the attention they could handle when Follow the Leader came out. But buried on that album is a song that really should not have happened.
All in the Family is a dueling rap battle between Jonathan Davis and Fred Durst. It was awkward and stupid back then. It's shameless and has no argument for even existing now.
I'm not going to play full sections of the song or even blast lyrics on screen because this video will most likely get demonetized. The song is nothing but gay slurs, incest insinuation, and claiming how the other person sucks. I get that the 90s were a different time, but this song goes overboard. Also in All in the Family, they make fun of the South and rednecks and inbreeding, and then both of them accuse each other of being gay again while screaming they hate each other over and over. Long story short, it's like a middle school gym class where two idiot kids try to make fun of each other just to impress their friends. All to a basic bass line and stock guitar riffs.
Follow the Leader went 5 times platinum off the backs of Got the Life and Freak on a Leash, but everyone who bought it also got this song all in the family. It's the type of track where you lose a little respect for the people involved in hindsight.
You don't hear this song live for a very good reason, and again, it's definitely a product of its time with it trying to be edgy in the 90s. Some Korn songs are classic, and some should be completely forgotten about regardless of what album the track is on.
You call yourself a singer? You're more like Jerry Springer. Your favorite band is Winger.
Before we get to the last song, please hit the like button if you haven't already. It helps a ton to get this video pushed in YouTube searches and the algorithm to people who haven't subscribed yet. Thanks for watching at this point also. So, for the last song, well, you remember how I just talked about Korn and how they were a bit inappropriate for what they did?
I'm of the mindset that Genesis truly shined with Peter Gabriel as part of the group, but I'm not going to throw out the Phil Collins-led Genesis completely in the trash, except for the song Illegal Alien. That song can go in a flaming dumpster.
It's a British band singing about Mexican illegal immigrants in America in the 80s. Can't see how this'll come off awkward or tone deaf.
Illegal Alien was a legit single released from Genesis' self-titled album, and it actually charted a bit around the world. Sweet mercy, 80s, you had better music back then to promote than this. Collins giving a hammy delivery of his own voice, I mean, hammier than normal, and a Casio keyboard style with synth and drums, and it's all just so bad. The song tries to capture how hard it is to be an illegal alien in America. As a fun fact, there was an entire verse stripped out of the radio version where an illegal alien tries to trade off his sister so that he can himself become a citizen. Yeah, I could see why that wouldn't be big over the airwaves.
People look back at Phil Collins with very different perspectives, including the Collins era of Genesis. Yeah, it's fine if you love Genesis, but if you ever find yourself singing the lyrics to Illegal Alien out loud in public, then you're gonna get the stink eye from people.
To this day, Genesis has only been known to perform this song live once. There's also rumors about the remaining core of Genesis reforming sometime soon. Again, Genesis has classic songs that stood the test of time, but they also have songs that should have been trashed as soon as they wrote out the lyrics. And that was a look at bad songs by good bands. Do you know a terrible song by a great band? Leave a comment and let people know. Huge thanks to my patrons and a special thanks to Brandon Barenfeld, I Love Metal, and Dom Smith. You can help support Rot and have a say in upcoming videos through Patreon. Just $2 a month goes a long way, and you can get perks like voting on videos and seeing them early. Check out the link in the YouTube card and video description for more info. Please subscribe to get notified of upcoming videos. You can check out my concert photography on Instagram, and you can keep up to date with Rocked on Facebook and Twitter.